Hello, that's a hard act to follow. My name's Ed Harsh. I'm the president and CEO of New Music USA. Welcome you to our actually first ever kind of press and public announcement of our project grants. And in fact, I welcome folks in the room and also folks on live streaming, which hopefully there are a lot of people all over the country watching the live stream of this as we go. And in fact, we invite those of you who are out there to use the hashtag, the hashtag project grants. So tweeting at us throughout the event is a very cool thing to do. So that performance by A Canary Torsi with music by Stefan Moore is one of three performances we'll hear today, which represent project grants that have been awarded both past and present. We'll have the final performance today will actually be one that is just being announced today. And the idea is that they'll give you a sense of the quality and the diversity of the kind of music that is supported by New Music USA, especially through project grants. We're actually driven, New Music USA is by a belief that the diversity of new music is actually one of its core strengths. And if you look across any given project grant round, and this one that's just being announced today is no different, of course, there are concerts and recordings and such, but there are dance performances, theater, film, all sorts of things, including things that sort of joyfully go beyond the limits of our definitions. And we think that that's kind of a core of what we think we should be doing. So today is a little bit of a celebration of the artists and art that we're supporting. It's also a little bit of an opportunity for us to shed some light on our project grants, the whole idea of it. And because we're very much of the belief that the transparency of the way we do things is great because people can look at it, argue about it, tell us we should do it some other way, and that's actually a real strength. There's also a bit of what we're doing that's just generally kind of trying to show the longer term vision, the kind of big vision of this. Project Grants is more than a grant making program. It's actually about giving money to artists, of course, but it's also giving artists more than money. It's about getting artists the ways to connect with their fans, the way for their fans to connect with other fans, for fans of those fans to grow other fans, and you get the idea. The idea is that the art that's not viewed by the public, music that's not heard by the public, who cares, right? That's our idea. We really want people to be engaged. So one of I would like to have my colleague Scott Winship, who actually is one of the great people at New Music USA who makes the whole thing run in terms of the project grants. But one final point, which is sort of by way of thanks to the people who have supported New Music USA, Meet the Composer, American Music Center, our legacy organizations over the years. All that support over years has built up to our ability to do what we're doing now. And in fact, the quality that we're seeing come through the door to us, people applying for support, is so high that we can easily give away 3 times as much money as we're giving and still feel really great about it. And so there's thanks to the people who have gotten us here, and there's also a commitment that we're going to continue to keep looking for more resources. And the ideal is that we award everybody who deserves it, which, wow, that's a lot, because there's a lot of great art being done in the country. So I'd like to introduce my colleague, Scott Winship, who'll tell you a little bit more detail.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you. And thank you all for joining us today as we celebrate our 3rd round awardees, as well as all the amazing artists we funded through the first 2 rounds of New Music USA's project grants. I'm just going to give you a really brief overview of what project grants are in case you aren't familiar. Our goals when re-envisioning our process were first and foremost to continue funding the highest quality artistic projects that we can. But to do that through a simplified and responsive process that broadens our reach and provides an engagement and promotion platform for the artists we serve. We like to think of this as grant making as engagement. Our approach was driven by 2 core convictions. The first, the best way to serve the field is to ask what they need rather than tell you what you should need, or what you should want, actually. And the second, that the process should be simple, open, and help artists connect to audiences, not just funders. Applicants are asked to present their projects using the same language and media they would use to promote their projects to the public, making the process less about grant writing and more about how artists present their work to the public. Once awarded, projects are made public online through our online gallery, where awardees may update their progress through media and text and interact with followers, providing an important promotional tool that extends the reach of the grant beyond just financial support. By promoting projects through our deep connections, we aim to build a community around the projects that we award and further support them as they develop their work. So far, the response has been overwhelming. We've seen a 40% increase in applications, representing every state in the country, and an incredibly broad range of artists and projects as they come through us. And 60% of surveyed applicants feel that the new platform process is very easy and effective, so we feel like this is hopefully the right thing to do. We are extremely pleased to have many current and past project grants awardees in the room tonight and thrilled to be able to share their art and music with all of you. And I'm not going to talk any further. I'd like now to welcome Mark Helias, a recipient of a Project Grants Award through Carytown Concert House in our spring round, this past round, for his work leading masterclasses with high school jazz students and conducting a community-wide bass ensemble as part of the 2014 Edge Fest in Ann Arbor, Michigan. So today we are very pleased to announce, and we're here today to announce our third round of Project Grants Awards, totaling $284,250. We'll be providing funding to 62 projects, which will be reaching over 240 artists, organizers, and collaborators throughout the country, engaging in a wide range of new music activity throughout the country. We were astounded to receive 1,242 projects, requesting over $9 million in support. Astounded not only by the volume, but by the depth and quality of the projects themselves. Projects were evaluated through a two-stage review process involving a total of 44 panelists across the country, comprised of deep practitioners of new music, either as composers, performers, administrators, choreographers, multidisciplinary artists, and more, each dedicating hours of insight, expertise, and intensive deliberation. A few of the panelists are in the room today as well. We're going to take just a really quick look at a few of the pool of awardees. This round, in response to valuable feedback from the field, we placed special focus on requests of $3,000 and below, projects at a size and scope where even small amounts of funding are crucial for success. In total, we were able to award over $100,000 to 40 projects, representing roughly 65% of the total projects awarded. Awarded projects represent every corner of the country, consisting of a diverse range of activity from dance to jazz, theater, recording, commissions, and more. Over 60% of our awarded projects prominently feature women artists, either as organizers, composers, or key collaborators, and close to 30% represent ethnically diverse artists in the same capacity. Additionally, we continue to reach new and upcoming artists, with 35% of awards going to first-time awardees through New Music USA and our legacy organizations, Meet the Composer and the American Music Center. I'm done talking. Now I'd like to welcome this round's awardees, Talajan, who are receiving one of our small request grants for the creation of new works for pocket gamelan and Indonesian dance. I was going to say.
So we're going to get some chairs set up here and just have a little chat and actually open the floor for those who have curious questions about various things. There's a great moment here for me to, this is called a vamp. The screen that comes down, you remember that pitch well, Mark Skorka, who runs Opera America, which runs this place, is suggested the possibility of commissioning composers to write something to accompany that pitch, which we think is a great idea. So if only they'd apply for a project grant. So we're going to have everybody? That's great. Maybe we should be asking you questions. Take a chair. Right, this is Stefan Moore, who is the person responsible for music number 1. So this is kind of an interesting format in that we just heard lots of great music, and there's the sound again. Anybody want to make up some music? I'll wait for it. That's right. You guys are in serious trouble. I think it can only go so far, so I actually think it's okay. There we go. So it's kind of an odd, this is a sort of mixed genre event. We've got all sorts of interesting things happening on stage. You have Scott and me talking. So the first thing is that I wonder if there's anybody out there who actually has a question about anything that you have seen or heard to this point. Sir.
I have a question for Stefan. What software are you using to create those sounds? Oh boy. It was a little bit of a mix. I started out in Max MSP and moved over to Ableton Live once the sort of more rhythmic stuff came in. One of the fun things about working with Yanira is I never do two dances the same way. We were just talking, we've been working together 10 years, and I've used stuff that's not software, all different kinds of software, all different configurations of things. So this is what this little tiny piece you saw of this one larger thing was, but next time it would be something totally different.
Yeah, and actually, Yanira, I wondered if you wanted to say something about the larger work of which this is a part.
Well, Core Garden is a 3-act spectacle that takes a look or considers, asks questions about performance and what is it to perform, and how power structures are embedded in some of those decisions, and how you see and where you sit and who you're watching and how the light is on that person. And I did a bunch of research around the Baroque period. So a lot of the musical beginnings and choreographic beginnings were looking at dances and music from that time period.
I'm sure you could pick up on
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I won't.
the Baroque aspect of what we were doing.
Yeah, so that was what that piece.
That's great. Yeah, I thought it was important to get that out because you're just seeing a very small piece of a much bigger thing. So, by the way, we should definitely talk into the mic because for those people who are hanging out away from us, they were going to say, "What did you hear us say?" It'll just be a strangely echoing thing. So, other thoughts, questions from the crowd? Aha, in the back.
I couldn't see a bass piece, but was there a pickup on the bass?
No.
It was
Mike?
all acoustic.
No. To your question about the pickup on the bass, no, there was no pickup. There was nothing attached, no microphone. It's just a good room
Yes.
and a good bass.
And a reasonably good player. Yes, sir.
I have a question for the gentleman that was playing that cardboard tube. How did you come to discover that you could use feedback on that? Like, how did that come about?
Oh, originally, I was playing ceramic drums and like oudou drums, and sometimes they have little holes where you can put a microphone in. And I was doing this, and of course, when you have a mic in a contained area, it started to feedback, and I was trying very hard to get rid of this sound, and then I realized one day that that was the most interesting happening with the instrument. So I just kind of took those ideas and moved it over to these cardboard tubes. So it's a pretty simple instrument to make.
Actually, I wondered if one of you could talk about the concept of the pocket gamelan, which is, I mean, there's a kind of semi-obvious part of it, but I just wonder if you want to talk about how you think about it.
Sure.
Bring over the mic.
Thanks. Yes, so this piece is part of a larger project, an evening-length program of music informed by gamelan and Indonesia, and this is one of the pieces on it, written by Glenn Kochi, and it's a gamelan piece that we arranged, Michael Lipsy primarily arranged for these instruments, these homemade instruments. And that's sort of at the root of the pocket gamelan idea, creating a gamelan out of found objects, portable things. And at the other end of the spectrum on the program is a new piece by Nick Brook, in which he's built 6 suitcases, 6 briefcases in fact, each of which contains entirely self-contained gamelan. Mm-hmm. So we open up the briefcase and inside are all the parts of it that are then amplified. So yeah, but that's the idea, that it's portable and found sounds.
Brilliant. Other questions from out there? Sir.
I have a question. Stephanie, you served on a panel for us for Project Grants. I'm curious if you could talk a little bit about your experiences through that. Yeah.
Sure. Well, I haven't looked at the list of who's been revealed to have received a grant today, but I definitely left the process feeling like I had some folks I was really rooting for. Yeah. It was difficult to assign. I mean, so the way the process works, I think I was in the first round, is that essentially we're asked to just assess the artistic merit of each of the proposals and give it a score from 1 to 6, and to be as opinionated and sort of, in other words, allow ourselves to engage our own sensibilities with it. And so that was exciting way to engage with each of these projects. And there were so many that I thought were fantastic. And it's kind of echoing what you were saying. I definitely felt like there's a lot more here that needs to be funded than will be funded. The software interface that the artists use to put their stuff in and then we're using to grade is, I've never seen anything like it. You guys have done a stunning job. I haven't had a chance to say that to you yet, but you've done a stunning job. It's a really...
what better time to say it?
Yeah, I'll say it for a moment. No, it's a really great system, and I think it allows you to feel like you're really getting the best of everybody's presentation. So.
I wonder if there are any of the awardees here who have yet kind of done something really that they thought was really fun with the sort of after you get the grant part of the system. In other words, with everybody who's awarded is required to do a certain number of updates, and you can get people to follow your project and such. I don't know if you've had a chance to do any of those sort of things, Yanira, or yeah.
I have done them.
How did you find them?
Well, it's incredibly easy to do, so that's really wonderful about it, and it essentially works like a blog. So you can post video, photos, and in that way share the work with a broader, larger audience that may necessarily come to the live performance. And yeah, so that's been a really great aspect of having the thing online, and yeah,
right.
It's been great.
Yeah, I'm actually blanking on, there's a sax quartet who was awarded that did some really amazing things. New Thread, there we go. Are they actually here? I heard one of them might show up.
Yeah.
So I'm calling you out as somebody who's done, as Yanira said, sort of followed up on our opportunities to do updates and things like that, and if you wouldn't mind being completely called out of the cold, to just tell us what you did with it, because it was really cool.
Yeah, so I'm a member of New Thread Quartet. Aaron Rogers is also here. So we were awarded a grant in the last round before this one, which was for a piece by Ben Hartman. It was a 30-minute long piece full of long cluster chords and silence and these really drawn-out sounds. But the process was really wonderful, and we got to do a lot of follow-up and posts. So as we were working on the project, we would post pictures from rehearsal. We had a live stream chat that we did with Ben about the project in development, and we were posting a live YouTube video onto your page for that. And then as the project finished up, we posted pictures from the concert, had a video of that, and just sort of being able to have the project live and breathe before and after the award is really cool.
Yeah, great. I actually I had experienced it sort of like it's like an online residency. Because you really you felt like you were a part of, you're like hanging out with the composer and you guys as you're working on it. So
exactly,
it was terrific. Yeah. Really, I didn't plan him. I knew they were here. So.
That's true.
So cool.
Thank you.
Any other questions? People, artists, or us folks? Anything else? Well, I don't feel a need to draw this out longer than it needs to go. So I think we should go out to where there is more wine. And thank you all for coming. Actually, there's two other things I did want to say. The first one is that actually, there is actually a playlist that's playing outside in the lobby, and that actually is the recordings of pieces by the current round, the new round people are announcing today. And the other thing I have to say is that this is this event was a really remarkable experiment. That was put together by a truly remarkable group of people, my team at New Music USA, and so I wanted to give them all a shout out collectively. And it's almost painful to single out anybody because it's a great team, but in terms of people who just made this event happen, Debbie Steinglass and Ethan Joseph really get kind of special kudos for that. Scott gets kudos for doing his cool stuff on stage, and Emily Bookwalter gets amazing kudos for putting together that video of panelist people in record time. So thanks all. Thank you.